Hi everyone, and welcome to the first in a series of videos looking at the final tech trees for Age of Empires 4. I'm going to start with the English because, well, they're at the top of the list, and yes, I covered them in a technical stress test, but there might have been some changes, and I know there definitely will have been changes for the other civilizations I covered because there were mistakes in their tech tree. And hopefully those have all been fixed. The English were pretty tight, but if I'm doing them all, I might as well just start at the top. I'll also put in chapters so you can jump to each building if that makes it easier for you if you're wanting to look at a specific thing. I'm going to start by looking at the details of the civilization on the left hand side. So the English are considered 1-star difficulty or easy. They're pretty similar to the civilizations from Age of Empires 2. They're a great place to start if you've not played Age of Empires before, or if you are coming from Age of Empires 2 and have not tried some of the more complex civilizations in Age of Empires 4 from the technical stress test. They're good at defense, they've got their longbows, and they have a good economy. I don't know why economy is there. I said this in the technical stress test. All of the civilizations have bonuses to a particular part of the economy. This is nothing special. However, I suppose their economy is the most standardized. So it's probably a good place to start for new players. Maybe that's why it's there. They have exceptional early game infantry, and they provide the English with a powerful punch backed up by reliable food production from the fields. Their network of castles protect the frontier, using town centres, outposts, towers and keeps that will increase the attack speed of nearby units when invaders are detected. So you'll notice when you're playing as the English that if an enemy comes near your buildings, namely any of those mentioned there, then a small bonfire will appear in yellow above it, and that is a sign that any units within range of those buildings will now have an attack speed bonus. England was the island of agriculture, as far as this is concerned anyway. So you build farms for 50% less wood, and they also have an increased efficiency within the influence area of a mill. Half-price farms, fantastic, especially early game when you're trying to get your economy off the ground, especially for food. And the increased efficiency is a huge bonus, especially when you stack it with the additional technology upgrades you can do at the mill. The influence area of the mill is the square that appears around it when you put it down. It basically means you can put 8 farms around the mill, and that's the influence area. Outside of that, you won't get the bonus. So it's encouraging to put multiple mills down, basically. Then you get the defensive brig. Keep what's yours with the Vanguard man-at-arms heavy infantry in the Dark Age. I don't think anyone else gets a Dark Age heavy infantry. Villagers fight with bows rather than farm implements, and town centres fire twice as many arrows as normal and nearby enemies. So you're getting a lot of early strength. Your villagers can basically act as archers because they have bows and arrows, and your town centres will provide a massive bonus, firing twice as many arrows. It might not sound like a lot when it's only firing 1 arrow at a time at the start, but that will kill a scout pretty quickly. Then we get our civilization bonuses, which again is sort of going over what we talked about there a little bit. So construct farms for 50% less. Farms near mills gather 15% faster, which again stacks with those technologies which are each 15% additionally, I think. Vanguard man-at-arms available in the Dark Age, stronger villagers who wield short bows. Town centres, outposts, towers and keeps provide the network of castles bonus, giving 25% attack speed to all affected units. That's a big bonus, don't underestimate that. Town centres fire twice as many arrows, and military ships have +1 range. That's a very nice bonus. The only thing that I still feel is a real shame with the English is that the longbows just don't have the range they did in Age of Empires 2. They do get a bonus to their range, but I just wish it was longer still. Farms built within the influence of a mill benefit from the 15% faster gather speed, and the unique unit, the longbowman, longer range archer that can deploy defensive palings, making them more effective against cavalry. The palings are fantastic. You might have seen my campaign videos where I have used them. They make cavalry not useless, but it certainly means that they can't kill your archers really quickly like they would be able to for other civilizations. I also, if you remember, played a 1v1 in the beta, which is uploaded, I believe, and in that my enemy was using horses against me, and I just kept putting palings down and killing those cavalry units. There's something to be said that maybe it was a bit overpowered then, and I think they may have adjusted it since the beta, but never mind. Let's go through the main tech tree. I'm going to leave it collapsed so we can just have a look at everything. We're starting with the Dark Age, obviously. You get your town centre where you can build a villager, a scout, and textiles, which increases the villager's health by 25. Honestly, I have never actually yet researched, I should say, textiles in this game. There will be a time I want to, I'm sure, but I certainly haven't done it as often as I did the upgrade in Age of Empires 2. You get your house, which adds 10 population cap, unlike the 5 you got in Age of Empires 2. You then have the mill. This is where you now get quite a few upgrades, not just to farms, but also your wheelbarrow upgrade, which increases the carry capacity of your villagers and their movement speed. That was previously in the town centre in Age of Empires 2. Survival techniques increases villagers' hunted meat carry capacity by 15 and hunted meat gather rate by 10%. If you're a civilization or someone who wants to do a lot of hunting, then I'd be grabbing that as soon as possible. You get your other bonuses to farming. Again, as I say, this is increasing the villagers' gather rate for food on farms by 15%. Although it doesn't specifically say farms there, so maybe it applies to any food. But that's another 15% bonus on the 15% bonus that you get just from building near a mill as the English. And then you get 15% at each age. You also get enclosures, which is a unique technology for the English. Each farm enclosure being worked by a villager generates 1 gold every 3.5 seconds. So late game, when you're running out of gold to mine, this is a great way to have a significant income of gold. Especially that you're getting an extra gold every 3.5 seconds, and let's be honest, you're going to have plenty of farms on the go by then. The lumber camp, pretty much the same upgrades that everyone gets. You get forestry, which doubles the rate at which villagers chop down trees. I have never actually researched this while playing recently. I'm not sure how much benefit it really gets. I tend to want to save my gold for something else. Double broadaxe and its subsequent upgrades, they again add 15% to a villager's gather rate for wood, and you get 1 at each age. Then you have the mining camp, which has specialized pick, acid distillation, and then cupellation. Again, this is a 15% gather rate increase for gold and stone at each age. All of the civilizations pretty much get the same techs here. Interestingly, in the campaign, I did notice that this was split, much like it was in Age of Empires 2. I'm not sure if that's something that was left in from when they were split into 2 separate things, or if it's just something they did especially for the campaign. Obviously, you can also build farms, and for the English, the farms are half price. They cost only 37 wood. That's a big bonus. Do not underestimate the use of farms for the English. They're going to be the best food source for you. You obviously get the barracks as well, and unlike the other civilizations, rather than getting a spearman in the Dark Age, you get your Vanguard man-at-arm. They're a bit slower than spearmen, but they have high armor. Very little is going to be able to penetrate that armor in the Dark Age. They're going to slaughter spearmen, but they obviously do cost slightly more. However, you've also got archers from your villagers, basically. So you're starting the Dark Age with a bonus of, firstly, heavy infantry, and also a form of archer unit, which no one else has. So, you're very strong in the Dark Age. And then going up to the Feudal Age, you do get your hardened spearmen, and you get your early man-at-arms upgrade. Castle Age, you get Veteran Spearmen and Normal Man-at-Arms, and you also get Armour Clad. This is a unique English technology which increases the range and melee armour of men-at-arms by 2. So increasing the range of melee armour by 2 doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it is. That is a huge bonus. And then obviously in the Imperial Age you get the Elite Spearmen and the Elite Man-at-Arms. Obviously you have to get all these upgrades. It does cost money. I'm not sure why they don't list them here, but you know, you're going to spend a lot of gold upgrading them. Then you have your docks. In the Dark Age you get your fishing boat and your transport ship, so you can do your exploration basically, and also gather food. Then in the Feudal Age you get your trade ship, so you can start making some gold, and obviously you also get your galley, which is your arrow ship basically. Then you get your hulk and your demolition ship in the Castle Age. The hulk is your broadside ballista ship. And then finally in the Imperial Age you get your carrack, which is your warship adorned with cannons. Everyone gets these now. The ships are pretty much the same for each of the civilizations, with a little bit of variation here and there. Upgrades wise, at the dock you get extended lines to increase the fishing rate by 20% and carry capacity by 10, and then drift nets, which increases the gather rate by an additional 15% and carry capacity by 20%. If you're relying on fish because you're on a coastal map, then these are definitely worth doing. You get shipwrights, which is a unique English technology which reduces the cost of ships by 10%. Again, if you're on a coastal map, that's a pretty cheap technology. It's only 10%, but that will sharp add up when you see the cost of the ships. If we go back up to the carrack, you know, reducing 10% off there is going to add up quickly if you're building a few of them. Navigator Lookout, increase the line of sight of military ships by 2 and their weapon range by +1. Castle Age technology, well worth getting again if you're using a lot of ships. Additional sails, increase the movement speed of all ships by 15%. Armoured hull, increase the armour of all military ships by +2. Again, +2 doesn't sound like much, but it is a huge bonus. And then extra ballista, your attack ship technology, adds a swivel ballista to attack ships. Swivel ballista can fire in any direction and deal 15 damage. Chaser cannons, increase the weapon range of all warships by 1. And then explosives, which increases the damage of incendiary ships by +40%. So that's your demolition ship basically. I've seen these used to semi-good effect by the AI in a game, but I've not actually yet seen any players use them. So let's shrink that back down. You get your palisade wall and your palisade gate, and you get access to your outpost. The outpost is just that, something that gives line of sight and that you can garrison units in the Dark Age. However, when you bump up to the Feudal Age, you can then add arrow slits, which adds defensive arrow slits basically, which will automatically fire arrows without any units being inside. And also you can fortify the outpost, basically turning it into a stone tower. You then have the option later of giving it a springald emplacement, which is basically a ballista, or you can give it a cannon emplacement. Now what needs to be mentioned here is you can only give these towers one of these. So if you've already chosen arrow slits, then you won't get the option to upgrade it further. However, if you wait or build them later, then you can choose either the springald or cannon emplacement. Then you get the option of your first landmark building to upgrade to the Feudal Age. You have the choice of the Council Hall, which is a building which can produce longbowmen at +100% speed and contains various longbowman upgrades. However, it should be noted that these upgrades are also available at the Archery Range. However, the speed at which it builds them is a huge bonus. You're basically building as quickly as you would need 2 archery ranges to do the same. So you get your longbowmen, they're not that expensive, they have a very long range, they can construct palings to fend off cavalry charge, however they do have a fairly slow movement speed. They have an option to set up camp if you do the upgrade, which allows them to heal for 1 health every second. You can also do a further upgrade technology in the Imperial Age, Arrow Volley. Longbowmen gain Arrow Volley, an activated ability that increases longbowman attack speed by 70%. And if you can imagine, you've got the bonus already from the defensive buildings, the network of castles, which is 25%, and then you're adding in 70% as well. Can you imagine how fast those longbowmen are going to be firing in a defensive position? You've just got to remember that this is an activated ability, you need to click it. Then you also get the Abbey of Kings, which is a building that heals all nearby friendly units that are out of combat for 4 every 1.5 seconds. Now, it's very individual which one of these you're going to take. Obviously, early healing is beneficial, because you're not going to be able to heal with a monk until you get to the Castle Age. So to be able to heal your units in the Feudal Age, that's a pretty big bonus. But equally, being able to build longbowmen at plus 100% speed, also quite nice. But you could equally just build 2 archery ranges. They have town centre listed again in the Feudal Age, but nothing really changes, it's just as it was. You get access to the market, pretty much the same as it was in Age of Empires 2. You can use it to build a trader, which you can send to either an allies market or one of the neutral markets on the map which now exist. The French are able to see these from the start, everyone else will have to do some scouting to find them. They also exist on the coastal maps, but they're a dock rather than a normal market. Then you get access to the Blacksmith, which is where you get all of your upgrades to both damage, defense, and an extra one which is siege engineering. This allows melee and ranged infantry to construct siege towers and battering rams in the field. Basically, it's a way for you to get battering rams and do some damage to stone walls in the Feudal Age. Because without that, you'd be waiting till the Castle Age, so you couldn't really do an early attack if your enemy has built a wall. The other upgrades are all pretty standard technologies that all the factions get in one form or another. You get your melee damage bonus, your ranged damage bonus, melee defense bonus, and your ranged defense bonus. You also then get in the Castle Age Military Academy, which reduces the time it takes to produce infantry, cavalry, siege and transport units at buildings by 25%. It does not affect religious units or other support units though. However, if you're wanting to build units in a rush and replenish your army, then it's well worth grabbing that. Obviously we get mention of the battering ram that we get access to if we have done that upgrade, and the siege tower. Archery Range produces ranged infantry units. Here you get access to the longbowmen in the Feudal Age and obviously the setup camp technology. In the Castle Age you then get access to the crossbowmen, and then finally in the Imperial Age you will get access to the hand cannoneer and their respective upgrades. You also get the arrow volley technology here, so you're not missing out if you don't choose that landmark. Then you get the stables where you can build a standard scout. You get horsemen in the Feudal Age, a light melee cavalry, and then you get your knights in the Castle Age, and then obviously you can upgrade those to elite in the Imperial Age. You also get access to your stone walls in the Feudal Age, your stone gates, and your stone wall towers. These are very well worth building, they do a lot of damage. Please remember that they are directional, they will only fire on the side of the wall they are placed. The other side of the wall they have a door, so they can be used as a way for infantry to get up on the walls from your side. However, if the enemy penetrate your walls and get on the other side, they will not fire at them. Then, for going up to the Castle Age, you get your King's Palace option or the White Tower. The King's Palace acts as a town centre in all behaviours, and that's pretty much it. The White Tower, however, acts as a keep with all the behaviours, technologies and bonuses that it would get. Now, personally, I would always build the White Tower. because I'd rather have a nice defensive landmark than just another town centre basically. You get your usual upgrades. You can do the springald emplacement, the cannon emplacement. You get to choose the boiling oil upgrade, which will apply to all your towers. And obviously you get the network of citadels. This is a unique technology in the Castle Age, which increases the network of castles' attack speed bonus from 25 to 50%. And again, going back to those longbowmen, 50% plus 70% is a heck of an attack speed. In the Castle Age, you get access to your keep, which is pretty much just your same upgrades that we just discussed. You get access to the Monastery, which will give you the monk. You get herbal medicine, which will increase the healing rate of religious units by 100%. You get piety, which increases the health of all religious units by 40%. And then you get tiddy barns and relics placed in the monastery provide an income of 30 food, 30 wood, and 30 stone every minute. Well worth grabbing if you've managed to pick up any of the relics. And piety is well worth grabbing if you are using monks near the front lines. Then you have your siege workshop. You get your springald, which is basically a ballista. You get your mangonel. You get your counterweight trebuchet, very good against buildings. You get your bombard cannon. It has a shorter range than the trebuchet, but obviously does quite a lot of damage to buildings. It is very expensive in terms of gold. You also get the Riboloquin, which is basically an organ gun. It fires multiple directions at once and is very good at killing infantry. Upgrades wise, in the Castle Age you get greased axles, which increases the movement speed of all siege engines by 20%. You get roller shutter triggers, which increases the weapon range of springalds by +2 tiles and reduces their reload time by 25%. Adjustable crossbars reduces the reload time of mangonels by 25%. Siegeworks increases the health of all siege engines by 20% and their ranged armor by 3. Well worth getting if you're planning to use them on the front lines again, as people will go out of their way to target your siege engines. You also get a unique upgrade for the English called Shattering Projectiles. Trebuchet projectiles shatter on impact, increasing their area of effect damage. This means that not only are they very good against buildings, but they should do damage to units as well. Then your final upgrades to get to the Imperial Age. You have the choice of the Berkshire Palace, which acts as a keep with all behaviours, technologies and bonuses. However, the Berkshire Palace has a 50% greater weapon range and double the number of arrow slits. Now, an interesting point about that is that that means that the Berkshire Palace can actually hit siege weapons except the trebuchet. So if you attack with a cannon, even the French cannon, which is obviously slightly better than the normal bombard cannon, the Berkshire Palace can actually fire back at it. Upgrades there are the same as any other keep. You'll also have the option of the Vanguard Palace. Now, I personally quite like this because although it doesn't really do much of anything else, it allows you to build the Vanguard Army, which costs 100 food, 100 wood, and 200 gold. This is a very, very good price for what you get. You get a longbowman, a spearman, a man-at-arms, a knight, and a trebuchet. Now let me put that into perspective for you by going back up to the Siege Workshop. A trebuchet on its own costs 500 wood and 250 gold. Here you are getting a trebuchet and everything else there for 100 wood, 200 gold, and 100 food. That is nothing. The only thing that is an issue here is that you get a trebuchet every time. But this is well worth getting in my opinion. Out of the two, my choice would probably always be to go for the Vanguard Palace. Other than that, you don't get a lot in the Imperial Age other than the unit upgrades and previous upgrades we've discussed. You get a university building, which will give you access to chemistry, which increases the damage of all gunpowder units by 20%. I believe that includes your ships with cannons. You also get geometry, which increases the damage of rams and trebuchets by 30%. You get cavalry technology biology, which increases the health of all cavalry by 20%. You get incendiary arrows, which increases the damage of range units by 20% to buildings. This does not apply to gunpowder units though. I'll also note that chemistry no longer gives you flaming ammunition for your trebuchets or your mangonels, which I think is a shame. I quite enjoyed seeing that in Age of Empires 2. Court Architects increases the health of all buildings by 30%, and Elite Army Tactics increases the health of all melee infantry by 10% and their damage by 10%. Finally, you get your Wonder, which is the Cathedral of St. Thomas. Costs 3,000 of each resource to build, takes you around 10 minutes depending on the number of people you've got building it, and then you have a 15-minute cooldown where you will win the game if it is not destroyed within that 15-minute period. And that is the English tech tree. Nothing too special for the English, they are a fairly straightforward faction, hence they are one of the easier ones to play, in comparison to, say, the Abbasid dynasty, which has so many unique technologies, I still get confused by them even though I've played them many times now. Thanks very much for watching, I hope this was helpful. Please do stay tuned to the channel for the other tech tree videos, and obviously some other gameplay from Age of Empires 4, and likely some other tips and tricks videos that you can't miss out on if you're just starting the game. As always, please do like, share and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel out when you hit that like button, as it bumps me up in the YouTube algorithm. I hope everyone has a fantastic week.